And here's an inside look at the setup for tomorrow's town hall-style debate at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump will face off for the second time tomorrow as the Trump campaign remains in crisis mode. Joining me now is Adolfo Franco, former advisor to John McCain's '08 presidential campaign, Victoria DeFrancesco, professor at the University of Texas and MSNBC contributor, and Reuters political correspondent Luciana Lopez. Thanks to all of you for being here. Really appreciate it. Adolfo, I want to start with you because you know what it feels like to be inside a campaign. How do they deal with this moment, what feels like a moment of crisis, and these calls for him to remove himself? Not that realistic, right? Because we're past the filing deadline.
Well, it isn't realistic, and in terms of the campaign, this is beyond crisis. This is really a meltdown situation. There really is no way out for Donald Trump. Now, with these comments, if Republicans, and I'm a Republican, I'm not supporting Donald Trump, but I'm a Republican. The notion that North Carolina, Florida, New Hampshire, Nevada, Colorado, these states would be possible for Donald Trump, unquestionably, they're no longer in play. I think he could lose Utah, he could lose Texas, he could lose Georgia. So it's a meltdown situation. The only strategy is to try to attract former President Clinton. I think that's he's not on the ballot. I think that's a mistake. What I was struck by earlier, though, very quickly, is the speaker, who I greatly admire. He said it's the elephant in the room. Well, this is the party of the elephant. That's the symbol of the Republican Party. It is now a question of salvaging the brand, the Republican brand. And that will really now look beyond 2016, where we have lost this election, and to say that Donald Trump should not be our party nominee, invoke Rule 9 of our party rules, and have him removed. It's too late on the ballot, but he's going to lose anyway. But what we can do is salvage the Republican brand if there's the courage to do it. A number of senators who are not up for re-election, like Senator Fisher of Nebraska, Senator Thune, and others have called for this. So I think this has to be seriously entertained if the Republican Party is going to survive beyond November.
And Luciana, pick up on that point. More than 20 Republicans have condemned him, including Congressman Joe Heck and Mitt Romney. I want to play a little bit of that and get your reaction.
Totally shocked that they would use this to denounce Donald Trump. He's a man. He's an American man. He did something wrong with a female. He apologized, and they are holding him up so high. They're not God.
And that was actually a Trump supporter from Nevada. So Trump supporters aren't going anywhere. But that's not his challenge, right? I mean, he's got to bring in more people into the fold. Can he survive this?
You hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, the people who were hardcore with him through the primaries, they're ride or die. They're there through November 8th. But what he needs to do, because this isn't the primaries now, this is the general, he needs to expand that base. He especially needs to expand it with women for whom these comments are really pretty toxic. If you look at Twitter today, it's just a range of women just denouncing this, and a lot of women talking about how they themselves have been sexually assaulted and how, for some of them, these words recall those very painful episodes for them.
The backlash has been stunning. There's no doubt about that. Vicki, let me go out to you. Obviously, that second crucial debate is tomorrow night. It was sort of already being cast as do or die. What do you anticipate Secretary Clinton is going to do if Donald Trump gets personal, which he's indicating that is very likely what he's going to do?
Yeah, I like Luciana's comment about it's ride or die, and I think Trump is going to go guns a-blazing because at this point, Kristen, what does he have to lose? So he's going to go personal, and I think the Hillary Clinton campaign knows as much and is preparing for that. The question is, how is he going to deal with the format? Because it's not just a moderator and the two candidates. It's people. It's going to be a woman who gets up and says, you know what? I was sexually assaulted. Those comments that you made affect me. So how he talks to the audience, I mean, he's going to attack Clinton. I have no doubt about that. But how he talks to that audience, I think, is going to be really key in seeing if he completely sinks tomorrow night or if he's able to kind of tread water.
Yeah.
Adolfo, go ahead. I know you want to jump in.
Yeah,
and if you would also just talk about the fact that Melania commented today. They're trying to neutralize this ahead of tomorrow.
Sure, I know I have a lot of respect for my friend Vicky, but this is really beyond Trump. Yes, that's what Trump will do. He's already said he's not going to quit. But I want to emphasize this as a Republican, because I am concerned about my party in the future. It's now beyond Donald Trump, and there are mechanisms to deal with this. We are going to lose this election in 2016. Before this incident, it was uphill. Now it's a foregone conclusion, and that's why you see Republican office holders denouncing him and distancing themselves from him very, very quickly. But it's going to take more than that. It's going to take far more than that if we're going to salvage the House and the Senate in this cycle, and certainly in the future. So absolutely, I agree with Vicky. That's Donald Trump's strategy. But it's the question of whether the Republican Party is going to now acquiesce with that strategy or say, no, this is the unguarded comet that mirrors the soul. This isn't an incident, as you just ran with the clip with a woman. This is not about an incident. This is not Monica Lewinsky, as deplorable as that was. This has to do with this man's perception of women and his rights to be, frankly, predatory. And that is offending not just women, but men and women. Everybody has a mother. Many people have a sister and a wife or a spouse. And that's what's troubling about this. And that's how the Republican Party has to step up and do something about it. And if not, we will pay a price for decades.
And let me go back to Luciana on that point. Let's take a look at a recent Quinnipiac poll. The gender gap is already yawning in this race. Right now, Secretary Clinton leads him among women 53 to 37%. You talked about the fact that he needs more women. What could happen to these numbers? I mean, what do you anticipate in the coming days? And does Melania's statement neutralize it at all? Can she be the voice here who says, forgive my husband, I have?
Well, there's been some evidence that the undecided voter pool, the people who could swing this election one way or another, are in fact women. And a lot of them are the kind of suburban female voters who typically would vote for the conservative, for the Republican candidate, but who have some issues with Trump. And this is the kind of thing that's only going to make their concerns and their nervousness even more palpable and even harder to get past. And so I think just Melania Trump coming out and saying, you know, I have forgiven my husband, doesn't necessarily speak to the deeper concerns that a lot of these women have.
All right, great conversation. Adolfo Franco, Victoria, and Luciana, thank you so much for being here.